Welcome back to the deep dive. So usually when we start one of these, I am sitting here behind like a fortress of paper.
Right. A mountain.
A mountain, exactly. I've got stacks of articles, maybe a few heavy hardback biographies, some academic journals printed in, font size 6.
We usually measure our prep in pounds of paper. That is the standard operating procedure.
But today is different. I am looking at a single sheet of paper.
Well, not even paper.
Not even paper, you're right. It's a single URL, a web page. And honestly, if you saw it on my screen right now, you would probably you'd close the tab. You'd think it was a mistake.
It doesn't look like much, I'll admit. It's stark. It's very functional.
We are looking at a Wikipedia disambiguation page, specifically the disambiguation page for the name Yves Saint Laurent.
Agrees.
Now, before you roll your eyes and check your podcast feed to see if you clicked the wrong show, stick with me. Because we are going to argue that this simple list of blue links is actually a map.
It is a map. And more than that, I'd say it's a forensic crime scene of identity.
A crime scene? Wow, that's a heavy opener.
Okay, maybe autopsy is a better word. Look, most people think of a disambiguation page as just a nuisance, right?
It's true.
You type in a name, you hit enter, and instead of the article you want, you get this traffic cop. You get a list that says, stop. Which one did you mean?
Right, it's the internet just asking for clarification. Did you mean the guy?
Yeah.
The store? The movie?
Exactly. But you have to ask why that page exists. It only exists when a single name has fractured. It's there because a human identity has become so large, so unwieldy and multifaceted that a single biography just can't contain it anymore.
Okay, I see.
If I search for, John Doe and he's just a guy who lived and died, I go to his page. That's the end of the story. But Yves Saint Laurent, that name has exploded.
So our mission today is to analyze that explosion. We're going to treat this disambiguation page like it's, a piece of ancient scripture.
Yes.
We're going to read the metadata, the syntax, the dates, the categories, all of it.
We are going to see how a man becomes a brand, how a brand becomes a legend, and how that legend eventually, fractures into a simple list of links.
And we actually have a lot to cover, even though the text itself is incredibly short. We have a biological human, a corporate institution, a cinematic battle.
And a physical monument. The 4 pillars of a modern legacy, really.
Okay, so let's pull up the source material. Section 1, the overview. The page is just titled Yves Saint Laurent, and it immediately divides the world into 4 buckets: designer, fashion house, film, and museum.
And you have to just pause on that hierarchy for a second. That order, that can't be an accident.
We think it's intentional.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It traces a trajectory. You start with the designer, the creator. Then you move to the fashion house, the creation itself.
Okay.
Then the film, which is a reflection of the story. And finally, the museum, the monument. It's almost a perfect life cycle of fame.
It's chronological in a way. The man has to come first.
He has to. Without the biology, you don't get the commerce.
Yeah.
It all starts there.
So let's look at the biology. Section 1, the man versus the house.
Let's read the text, verbatim.
Okay. The very first entry on the list, I'm going to read it exactly as it appears here. Yves Saint Laurent, designer, 1936-2008, French fashion designer.
So much is packed into that one little line.
Yeah.
Let's start with the parentheses, 1936-2008.
It's the first thing your eye hits, the dates.
That is the boundary of the human experience. 72 years. It's a finite container. It tells us that there was a biological organism that began respiration in 1936.
And ceased respiration in 2008.
Exactly. It's stark.
It is stark when you see it written down like that. It implies a closed loop. The story started, the story ended. Full stop.
And look at the label the source assigns to that closed loop, French fashion designer.
Right.
That is his function. That's his economic utility in the world. If this were a normal person, that would be the end of it, right? You live, you do a job, you die.
But then your eye drifts down, literally 1 millimeter on the screen.
Yeah.
The second entry.
And this. This is where the split happens. This is where the ghost leaves the body.
Entry number 2, Yves Saint Laurent, fashion house.
Notice the difference in the title. The first one is designer. The second is fashion house.
The name is identical. The letters are exactly the same.
But the entity is completely different.
And the description for this one reads, a luxury fashion house founded in 1961 by Yves Saint Laurent and his partner, Pierre Bergé.
Okay, let's go back to the dates again. The man, 1936 to 2008. The house, founded in 1961.
And does the house have an end date listed?
It does not. It is open-ended. It's still going.
So we have a finite human life, and inside of that life, specifically at the age of, what, 25, he spawns something infinite.
Let's just dwell on that age for a moment. 25, do the math. Born in 36, founded the house in 61.
That is just wild to think about. I'm trying to picture myself at 25. I think I was struggling to figure out how to, like, file my own taxes.
Yeah.
I definitely wasn't founding a global empire.
Well, context matters here, too. The source calls it a luxury fashion house. Now, Wikipedia editors, they are notoriously pedantic. They don't use adjectives lightly.
No.
They didn't say clothing shop. They didn't say apparel company. They chose the words luxury fashion house.
And what's the implication of that specific phrasing, do you think?
Luxury implies high stakes. It implies exclusivity, a certain status, and house, or maison in the French tradition, that implies an institution.
Okay, an institution.
A structure that is designed to outlast its inhabitants. A shop opens and closes. A house is built to stand for generations, and he built this foundation at 25 years old.
And it's still standing. The man died in 2008, but the 1961 entry is still present tense. It's alive.
It's more than just standing. I would argue it has.
Yeah.
It has consumed the man. If you stop a random person on the street today, let's say a 19-year-old, and you say the words Yves Saint Laurent, what image pops into their head?
The handbag,
Yeah.
the logo, maybe a bottle of cologne.
Exactly. They are thinking of the entity in line 2. They aren't thinking of the man in line 1. The house has eclipsed the designer. The creation has become larger and, well, more durable than the creator.
I noticed another little detail in that second line that I want to pick at.
Line.
The mention of the partner.
Pierre Bergé.
Yes.
Right.
In the first entry, the one about the man, it just says Yves Saint Laurent. He stands alone. But in the second entry, the one for the fashion house, it explicitly says founded by Yves Saint Laurent and his partner, Pierre Bergé.
It is a crucial distinction. The source material is being incredibly precise about giving credit.
Why, though? Why list him there? Usually these disambiguation pages are trying to be as brief as possible. Why include the co-founder?
Because the fashion house is a distinct legal and operational entity. You can be a genius designer in isolation. You can sit and draw sketches in your bedroom. But you cannot build a luxury fashion house alone. That requires structure. It requires business acumen. It requires a second pillar.
So the text is acknowledging that the institution from 1961 is a partnership, even if the legend from 1936 is a solo act.
Precisely. Pierre Bergé wasn't the designer. He wasn't making the dresses. But he was the architect of the house.
I see.
He was the one who ensured that the structure would survive. And the fact that the source lists him creates a separation between the art and the business. The art was Yves. The business was Yves and Pierre.
It almost makes the house feel like a machine. Like the man provided the fuel, the creative genius, but these two guys built an engine that was designed to run forever.
And that engine did not stop in 2008. That's the key takeaway. When the man died, the parenthesis closed on line 1, 2008.
Yeah.
But line 2 just kept scrolling. The house didn't attend the funeral. Or rather, it attended, and then it went right back to work the next morning.
It's kind of a dark thought, isn't it? The idea that you create something that eventually renders you, personally, unnecessary.
It is the ultimate goal of a legacy brand. You want to become unnecessary. If the business dies when you die, you haven't built a brand. You've just had a very successful career.
That's a great distinction.
Yves Saint Laurent built a brand. He made himself replaceable by his own name.
So we have the man and we have the house. But the source text doesn't stop there. It moves from the boardrooms of Paris to the red carpets of Hollywood.
Section 2, the cinematic mirror.
This part of the list genuinely confused me when I first looked at it. I had to read it twice to make sure I wasn't seeing things.
It is a statistical anomaly. It really is.
Okay, so under the header film, we have 2 entries. Entry 1, Yves Saint Laurent film, a 2014 film. Simple enough.
Right.
And then looking down on the See Also section, we have another one, Saint Laurent film, a 2014 film about Yves Saint Laurent.
2 biopics about the same man.
Released in the exact same year.
2014. Let's look at the timeline again. He died in 2008.
So that's, what, 6 years?
6 years. Now, Hollywood is not known for its speed. Development takes years.
Oh, yeah.
Scripts get stuck in rewrite hell. Funding falls through. To have one major biopic released 6 years after a global icon's death is actually pretty fast.
Yeah.
To have 2 competing productions from different teams racing to the box office in the same calendar year, that is extraordinarily rare.
So what does that tell us about the state of his legacy in 2014? What was happening?
It tells us that there was a battle for the narrative. It was a land grab.
Land grab.
A legacy grab. In 2014, the meaning of Yves Saint Laurent was still up for grabs. He was gone, so he couldn't control the story anymore.
Right.
And the vacuum he left was so massive, and the public interest was so high, that the market could apparently support two simultaneous interpretations of his life.
It's like the volcano versus Dante's Peak thing from the 90s, but for high fashion.
Agrees.
A crude analogy, but yes, absolutely. Or Capote and Infamous. But here, the subject is a brand as much as a man. And look at the titles provided in the source. This is where the nuance gets really, really interesting. Okay, let's unpack the titles. The first film, the one in the main list, is titled Yves Saint Laurent.
The full name, first and last.
The second film, the one tucked away in C also, is just Saint Laurent.
Just the surname.
Why the difference? I mean, they're both about the same guy. The source explicitly says a film about Yves Saint Laurent, so why drop the Yves in the title of the second one?
Think about what happens when you drop a first name. When you refer to someone by a single name, you are elevating them. You're removing them from the realm of the personal and placing them in the realm of the iconic.
Like Elvis or Madonna.
Or Cher.
Or historical figures. We say Mozart. We don't usually say Wolfgang Amadeus. We say Picasso. We say Einstein. When you drop the specific identifier of Yves, you're suggesting that the subject has become a kind of deity. He is no longer a person you could have coffee with. He's a statue.
So the film titled Yves Saint Laurent might be trying to tell the story of the human being, the man.
Right.
And the film titled Saint Laurent is telling the story of the icon, or the brand. Remember, by 2014, Saint Laurent was the name on the door of the shop. It was the name on the tags.
Ah, good point.
The second film title aligns the man with the product. It suggests that the transformation is complete.
And the source material, this disambiguation page, it doesn't know how to resolve this conflict. It just lists them both. It says, here is one version, and here is the other. Good luck.
It creates a choose-your-own-adventure for the user. Which version of the truth do you want?
Right.
Do you want the authorized, maybe more sanitized biopic, which is usually the one with the full name? Or do you want the edgy, unauthorized interpretation, which is often the one that takes more liberties? The disambiguation page is agnostic. It just holds up the mirror and shows you the fracture in the reflection.
It really emphasizes that post-death boom. You die in 2008, and suddenly everyone wants to own a piece of your story.
It is the rush to define the legacy. As soon as the person is gone, the interpretation begins. The filmmakers, the studios, the biographers, they all rush in to say, no, this is who he really was. And clearly, in 2014, there was a lot of money on the table for whoever could win that argument.
So we have the man from 1936, the house from 1961, and the battle for the narrative in 2014. But the list takes us to one more destination. And this time, it's a physical place.
We have to leave the screen and go to the map. Section 3, the geographical anchor.
The last main entry on this list is Yves Saint Laurent Museum in Marrakesh, Morocco.
Okay, now, I want you to scroll back up in your mind to the very first entry. What was the descriptor we talked about?
French fashion designer.
French. France. Paris. That is the assumption, right? That is the national identity stamped on his passport.
But the museum, the main museum listed here is in Marrakesh.
Morocco. North Africa. This is a significant geographical shift. It's not a small detail.
So why does the source include this specific museum? I have to assume there are exhibits or archives in Paris. Why does the Marrakesh Museum get its own bullet point on the disambiguation page?
Because it territorializes the legacy. If you were just a French designer, you belong to Paris. That's your box. But to have a dedicated, standalone institution bearing your full name in Morocco, that implies a kind of dual citizenship of the soul.
It breaks the national boundary.
It totally does.
Yeah.
It suggests that while the business might have been headquartered in Paris, the inspiration, or perhaps the heart of man himself, lives somewhere else.
And the source uses the full name again, Yves Saint Laurent Museum. It's like it's cementing the whole identity into the landscape.
Legacy in stone. That's how I think of it. A film is ephemeral. You watch it, the credits roll, it's over.
Right.
A fashion collection is seasonal. It changes every 6 months.
Yeah.
But a museum is built to stay. It is a claim on the future.
It's a permanent anchor in the ground.
Exactly. By listing this museum, the source material is telling us that Yves Saint Laurent is no longer just a person or a company. It is a destination. It is a place you can physically go to. You can buy a plane ticket, fly to Marrakesh, and walk inside Yves Saint Laurent.
That is a powerful transition when you think about it. From a person you talk to a house you buy from, to a movie you watch, to a place you visit.
It is the ultimate cementing of a legacy. When you have a building with your name on it in a foreign country, You have achieved a level of global permanence that very, very few people in history ever achieve. You become a landmark.
So it effectively says, to understand the French designer, you must go to North Africa. The source creates that bridge for you.
And it forces the user to acknowledge the global footprint. You can't just keep him in the 8th arrondissement of Paris. He is trans-Mediterranean. He belongs to 2 continents.
Okay, so we've traveled from France to Hollywood to Morocco. We've seen the physical and the cinematic, but now I want to get really nerdy.
I was waiting for this. This is my favorite part.
I want to talk about the See Also section. Because if the main list is about building a legacy, the See Also section is about watching that legacy shatter into a million pieces.
Section 4, the fragmentation of identity.
The source lists 3 specific disambiguation pages in the See Also section. And honestly, this is the part that just blew my mind. Number 1, Saint Laurent, disambiguation. Number 2, Yves, disambiguation. And number 3, YSL, disambiguation.
This is the most profound part of the entire document.
Why? I mean, on the surface, it just looks like a list of other lists. What's so profound about it?
Think about what it implies. Think about your own name. If I search for it, I might find you. I might find another person with your name.
Sure.
But I won't find a separate page for your first name, separate page for your last name, and a separate page for your initials. That just doesn't happen.
No, definitely not.
These links exist because every single component of his name has become a standalone cultural force.
Okay, let's take them one by one. Yves.
Disambiguation. The first name. Just Yves. Stands alone. It suggests that he is the gravity well for that name. If you say Yves in a fashion context, you don't even need the last name. Everyone knows who you mean.
Okay, then Saint Laurent. Disambiguation.
The surname. But it has detached from the man. Saint Laurent is now a brand. It's an aesthetic. It's a vibe. You can say, oh, that look is very Saint Laurent. You're using his last name as an adjective.
And then the big one, the one that I think really defines the modern era of the brand. YSL. Disambiguation.
The acronym.
The 3 letters.
This is the branding triumph. The fact that there is a YSL disambiguation page means that those 3 letters, YSL, have taken on a life of their own. They don't need the man anymore. They don't even need the words Yves Saint Laurent. They just need the shape.
Yeah, you're right. People don't say, look at my Yves Saint Laurent bag. They say, look at my YSL.
Exactly. The acronym has become a noun. It has become a distinct entity that requires its own clarification. There might be other things in the world called YSL, I don't know, maybe a tech protocol or a scientific term, but the fact that it is listed here, linked to him, shows that his initials are a key part of this fractured legacy.
It's incredibly rare, isn't it? I'm trying to think. Just looking at this, how many historical figures require disambiguation for their first name, their last name, and their initials?
Very, very few. JFK, maybe. FDR.
Yeah.
But even that is different. Usually initials are just shorthand. Here, YSL is a logo. It's a visual stamp. The source text acknowledges that YSL is a search term in and of itself. It's distinct from the man.
So the man has effectively been cloned into 3 separate versions. There's the Yves, the Saint Laurent, and the YSL.
And the user, the listener, or the person on Wikipedia might be searching for any one of them. The source has to account for all these fragments. It's like a mirror that is shattered, but every single shard still reflects the same core image.
It really is a fragmentation. It's not just one guy anymore. It's a whole galaxy of related terms.
And that galaxy isn't just in English. And this brings us to sort of the edge of the map.
Section 5, the global context.
You noticed the sidebar on the page.
I did. On the left side of the source page, there is a list of languages. Now, usually I just ignore this. I speak English, I read the English page. But you told me to look closer.
Read the list. Just a few of them.
Okay. We have Dansk, which is Danish. Francais, obviously French. Italiano. Netherlands is Dutch. Le tout vieux, Lithuanian.
Right.
But then we leave Europe. We have Korean, written in Hangul script. We have Thai, written in Thai script. Ting Viet, which is Vietnamese. Bahasa Indonesia. Turkish.
Let that geographical spread wash over you for a second.
It's everywhere. It's truly global.
It's not just Europe. It is not just the French fashion designer. We have significant representation in East Asia, Southeast Asia, the Middle East, Eurasia, Northern Europe.
And this is just based on the interface options available on this one specific page.
Correct. These are the available translations or the linked articles. It confirms the global status of the topic strictly from the interface. You don't need a sales report to tell you YSL is a global brand. You just need to look at the Wikipedia sidebar.
It's amazing that a guy born in 1936, a French designer, has an article about him that's accessible in Thai and Vietnamese.
It speaks to the export power of the fashion house we talked about earlier.
Ah, right.
The man, 1936-2008, might have stayed primarily in France and Morocco, but the house, 1961. The house traveled, the house got on a plane, and it landed in Seoul. It landed in Jakarta. It landed in Bangkok.
So the languages are essentially footprints. They show us where the brand has walked.
Exactly. And where the interest lies. Someone who speaks Vietnamese is actively looking for Yves Saint Laurent. That implies a connection that spans continents and cultures. It proves that the luxury fashion house succeeded in its mission of permanence and expansion.
Okay, I want to step back and get a little meta for a second. We've been analyzing the content of the page, but I want to analyze the nature of the page itself.
The medium is the message, of course.
We are looking at a disambiguation page. That is the technical term. I want to read the definition that's found right at the bottom of the source. It says, this disambiguation page lists articles associated with the title Yves Saint Laurent.
Okay.
And then it gives a warning.
The warning is the key.
It says, if an internal link led you here, you may wish to change the link to point directly to the intended article.
Point directly to the intended article. That is the challenge, isn't it?
What do you mean by that?
The source is admitting its own confusion. It's admitting the difficulty of pinning down Yves Saint Laurent. It is asking the user, what did you actually mean? Which one did you want?
Did you mean the guy? Did you mean the dress? Did you mean the movie? Did you mean the museum in Marrakesh?
Precisely. The system is confused. The name has become so overloaded with meaning, person, house, movie, museum, that a simple link is no longer sufficient. The source material forces the user to choose which version of the legacy they actually want to engage with.
It's like the name has become too big for a single URL. It can't be contained.
It has. It has overflowed the container of a standard biography. A standard biography is for a person. A disambiguation page is for a phenomenon. And Yves Saint Laurent is a phenomenon.
That is a really deep way to look at what is essentially a tech support message.
Agrees.
If an internal link led you here, it's almost saying, if you're confused, it's because this is complicated.
It is complicated. Identity is complicated. When you turn a human being into a brand, you create this very confusion. You create a world where Yves Saint Laurent is both a dead man and a living, breathing business. This disambiguation page is the only place on the internet where they all sit side by side.
It's the meeting point.
It's the crossroads. It's where the ghost meets the machine.
So let's recap this journey, because we have covered a lot of ground from a very, very short list of links.
We have. It's surprising how much is in there.
We started with a name, just a name on a screen.
And from that name, we found a man, born 1936, died 2008, a finite life with a hard stop.
Then we found a partnership with Pierre Bergé and a house founded in 1961, a house that didn't care about the death date and just kept on going, an entity that was built at age 25 and became, for all intents and purposes, immortal.
We found a cinematic battle in 2014, 2 films fighting to define the narrative just 6 years after he was gone. Yves versus Saint Laurent, the man versus the icon.
We found a geographical home in Marrakesh, Morocco, a museum that anchors the legacy in stone, far, far away from Paris, a physical destination that territorializes the name.
And we found a fragmentation of the name itself. Yves Saint Laurent, YSL, 3 distinct keys that unlock different parts of the story.
And finally, we saw the global reach through the languages, from Danish to Thai, the footprints of the brand stamped across the globe.
It is a complete map of a modern legacy, all on one page.
You know, it really makes you think about what happens to a name. For most of us, our names are just us. They're attached to us. When we go, the name kind of retires with us.
Sure.
Maybe it stays on a tombstone or in a family album, but that's about it.
But for a select few, the name detaches. It uncouples from the person. It becomes a balloon that just floats away on its own.
It becomes a fashion house or a museum.
Or a disambiguation page.
Right. So here is where I want to leave it today. Here is the question I have for you and for our listener to think about.
Go on.
When you look at that list, the fashion house and the museum are the things that are still active. The films are from 2014. That's in the past. The man died in 2008. But the house and the museum are present tense. They are still operating today.
They are living entities, absolutely.
So does that mean the name Yves Saint Laurent is actually more alive today than it was when the man himself was alive?
That is the provocative thought. If we connect this to the bigger picture, the dates, 1936, 2008, are just the prologue. The real story of Yves Saint Laurent, the entity, the global force, might have only just begun in the 21st century.
The man was the spark, The house is the fire.
And the disambiguation page is the evidence that the fire is spreading in multiple directions at once.
I love that. The name outlasted the dates. It's a living entity.
It raises an important question for the listener, doesn't it? When you see a brand name, whether it's on a bag or a bottle of perfume or a belt buckle, are you interacting with a person or are you interacting with a ghost that has built a castle?
A ghost that built a castle. Wow. I'm going to be thinking about that one for a while.
It is the power of the three letters, YSL. They don't need the man anymore. They have the page. They have the legacy.
So next time you are browsing Wikipedia or just searching for something online and you hit that disambiguation page,
Wow.
don't just click through. Stop.
Yeah, take a second.
Look at the list. Look at the fine print.
Read the dates. Look for the... See also. Check the languages on the side.
Because you might just find a whole universe hiding in a simple list of links.
The story is always in the details.
Exactly. Thanks for diving in with us today. This was a really fun one.
A pleasure, as always.
We'll catch you on the next deep dive. Keep looking at the fine print.
Yeah, goodbye.
See ya.